This is an honest review of Land of the Vikings. Let's take a look. Alright guys, so Land of the Vikings is an early access colony sim, sort of city builder type of game. And survival, it's sort of like Frostpunk. And you are playing in the Viking times, and it is your goal to grow the biggest, baddest settlement that you can and keep them alive. Now, it doesn't have like a tremendous amount of content. However, what it does have, I think, is nice. This is a very chill colony sim. I guess, right? It's a colony sim. You're simulating building a colony. And it's not very micromanagey, which I really like. However, let's start with the settings. The graphics, I mean, you can see in the gameplay here, and the sounds are really nice. They're really calming, and when you're playing the game, you just kind of feel like you're sitting out in nature and you want to take a nap. Now, with the actual game itself, what is it? Well, you start out, you have your main hall, and then you start out with 3 houses, and then from there, the game starts with the tutorial. Now, the tutorial in this game is very good. I don't play many types of these games, however, I really did enjoy this game. This game is on sale for $17.99, so keep that in mind. The way that they do the threats in the game are very lackluster. Really, the only threat you have is the first winter, and then you'll get like lightning strikes. It'll start storming, and then these lightning strikes will come down and just one-shot your houses, or an earthquake will happen and just start wiping out buildings. Besides that, those are really your only threats. I say the first winter because once you get through the first winter, you're pretty much good to go because you have the entire rest of the year to stock up on firewood, to make sure your people have, warm clothes. It's really not. I mean, I almost died on my first winter because everyone almost froze to death. But after that, I was pretty much good to go. Now, what'll happen is you gain fame. So the more people you have, and the more that you do, you'll start gaining these fame points. Now, what these fame points will do, every 100 fame points, you'll get a skill point, which, you guessed it, leads into the King perk system. Now, these perks will allow you to build certain buildings. They'll make your people walk faster on roads. They might work faster. You might be able to gain more profits after trading and all of that. And yeah, I mean, that's how the perk system works. Now, every once in a while, you'll get a notification that'll say, oh, we've got people that are leaving their previous village. They got raided by bandits and they want to join you. Do you want to take them in or no? And anytime, actually most of the time that a dialogue comes up like this, it's sort of like you have consequences. So it'll say like, yes, I want to take these people in and you'll gain fame, or it'll be like, no, turn them away and you'll lose fame. It's stuff like that. And those give really big boosts to fame. So, you want to play what it is. A lot of the choices are really just it's just kind of like, why wouldn't I pick this option over this? Then I found the choices pretty lackluster. Okay, so the actual management of the city, it's very easy. Once you start figuring out kind of what to do, it's not that difficult. A lot of the times I actually found myself having too much of a supply, and all of my storage containers and all my storage buildings actually started overflowing, and so you have to sort of divvy up how it works. Once you start figuring out like what buildings take from other buildings and what buildings give to others, once you figure that out, you're good. You can build ports where you can send ships off to do trades and stuff. You can get rid of excess materials by doing that. In return, you'll sell them for coin. Now, the way that works is you load up a crew, you build a ship first, and then you'll sell off. You've got to make sure you have the right amount of beer to keep them happy, the right amount of weight, food, and then the right amount of people. And then they'll go off and do that. You can fish. You build a fishing dock where they'll go out and they'll catch fish. You can build goat pens, cow pens, chicken pens. This all leads into they'll produce leather, they'll produce wool, chicken food, beef, all that. Overall, the game is really nice. It's just for $17.99. I think you could get a lot of fun out of it. The only thing is that I would concern about just getting bored. It's just kind of, once you are in the groove, it's just sort of boring. And a lot of that has to do with there's no threats. There's no threats. Like I said, the only threat you have is winter, really, and then having to rebuild. But I think for me, it got a lot more exciting once I kicked in the times X, or the times 8 speed, because down at the bottom right hand corner you can change the speed that you want everything to run at. And once I turned that into times 8, it felt better because the pace was a lot faster, so there was a lot more things happening, and I noticed that sort of kept me going. Besides that, it runs so slow. Not the actual game like taxing on my system or anything like that, but the game just runs slow. It takes forever. I mean, I had them on 2x. I went up, made a cup of coffee, had a conversation, had lunch, and I came back, and stuff still wasn't done that I had set up beforehand. I mean, yeah, it runs slow. There's also some bugs where, and I don't know if this is a bug, but this was incredibly annoying. I would assign people to buildings or just jobs that they would do, and then they would just leave. They would just leave, or they would just completely disappear. Now, I say I don't know if it's a bug or not, because in this game, they'll die due to natural causes because they got too old, and they'll just die off. But it just seemed like a lot of times I would put people in jobs, and it would just disappear. I'm gonna chalk it up as a bug. If it is, it needs to be fixed. Because that was probably one of the most frustrating parts that I would do. The UI isn't bad. I know that's a really important part with these types of games is, because you're navigating through a lot of menus. I think the menus were fine. I didn't really have any issues with them. However, a lot of times I couldn't tell when I was assigning people to jobs if who I was assigning are people who are free or if they were taking people from other jobs. This led to my confusion on how that worked. So that's not really something I'm clear on. However, that was a frustration that I had. There were also little other bugs where people or animals were just walking through fences. They were just walking through decorations that I had. So, I mean, yeah, that shouldn't be happening. But besides that, I mean, I didn't really find many other bugs. Like I said, just overall, the game's it's pretty boring. If you don't turn the game onto the max speed, it's gonna just take you a very long time to get through. So yeah, should you buy it? Well, if you want a really chill, beginner friendly city management game, I think for $18, yeah, I think it's worth supporting these developers. I didn't feel like I got ripped off at all. However, I haven't played many city builders, so to me, I felt like it was worth. If you've played other city builders and, this is like your genre, this is what you do, I think you'll get pretty tired of it. I mean, really, I think you'll find it to be pretty lackluster and pretty boring. If you want to keep your eye on it, you could. I think this definitely has potential to go somewhere. It's not like it's just floating around doing nothing. So yeah, so there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.